I wonder what did you tell about me, because I did not really understand. But my name is Girts. Lithuanian pronunciation is supposed to be Girtsas. I am kind of IRA in Latvia. I'm country manager in IDEA group in Latvia. So my task is to give you some highlights in differences among Baltic states in terms of meaningful brands context. And in my 20 years in advertising and marketing, there always has been temptation for marketers to save money and make pan-Baltic campaigns and or adapt global campaigns on Baltic level. I mean, there always the question: so, are we similar, and can some global concepts be can be like adapted for Baltic market? So my personal, I am quite sure that there are universal human values that are applicable for virtually any country in the world, including Baltic states, and we are not so different. But on the other hand, when we start to talk about categories which are highly competitive, where is like very high saturation of brands and there is very high usage of products, then those differences start to matter, and we need to dig a little bit deeper. Even if we run a TV campaign with the same TV spot on all Baltic states, but when we go to another communication channels or touch points between brand and consumer, then it is very important to try to find out what will work better in each specific country. And therefore, I will give some brief insight into similarities and differences, and what conclusions can marketers draw to tailor their communication and their marketing activities in each specific Baltic state. And the great news is that this meaningful brands research, as Eva told, it's runs simultaneously in 34 countries worldwide. Therefore, we have a chance to compare Baltics and our homeland in versus other countries in the world, which is not a case so often with research. Because typically, when we make marketing research, it's done on a country level. So where we are in the world, and the question there was stated like that imagine the ladder where 1 is worst possible life for you and 10 is best possible life for you at the moment. And we called it kind of happiness index, but it's not particularly happiness, it's satisfaction with life at this moment. So globally, it's 6.7, in Europe 6.4. So where are Baltic countries? In 33 country competition, Lithuania is like bottom 5 country, but the best from Baltic states. So at the moment, Lithuanians on average think that their happiness about current status of their life is 6, followed by Latvia, 5.8, and Estonia is the least happy country among those which were researched, so 5.6. If you take a look on the most happiest countries, then when we presented this meaningful brands research last year, it was not really last year, the fieldwork was made on 2013. So actually we had approximately same countries leading: Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, India, Netherlands, Chile, Philippines, United Arab Emirates. So then there was kind of surprise. So how comes that those developing countries are so happy, you know? And one of questions or like hypothesis was that you know, these countries, they do not have so high expectations about life standards, therefore they are happy. And we asked some economists to like give his comment on what happened there. And actually his point was that we have prejudice against those developing countries, and we do not really know what happened there. Like take Brazil, they are organizing Olympic Games and World Football Championate in like few years, time perspective, which is huge contribution to the country and a huge like PR promotion of country globally. But my hypothesis is, if you take a look on top 10 countries, and only European country in top 10 is Netherlands. So availability of drugs promotes country's happiness. And therefore, my colleagues will pass around petition to legalize weed, and everyone who is socially responsible should sign it, and we'll give it to government, you know, here. Okay, but of course we may wonder what actually drives this happiness, and you know, how we look on country level. Let's take Estonia. This 6.5, that was average, but we can take a look on people who say that their lives are flourishing, meaning they evaluate it from 7 to 10, then somewhere in the middle, and struggling. Struggling is bottom 3. So we see that in Estonia we have quite a proportion of like small proportion of flourishing people in 2013, like 9%. But during this 1 year, it's actually 1.5 years, because in 2013 fieldwork was done in spring. It has increased, so it from 9% to 13%. Also, somewhere in middle has increased, and there is decrease in those who are struggling. So Estonia is getting better on average. Same with Latvia. Last year we had, on 2013, we had 13%. Today we have 15%, and significant decrease also in those who are struggling. Interesting fact about Latvia is that on 2013 we had another question: how do you feel your life will develop in the next 5 years? So Latvia was the most optimistic country worldwide. 25% of respondents, which was the leading number globally, said that their lives will get better. So this trend actually, this confirms that. Same with Lithuania, so 18% flourishing versus 21% this year, and also slight decrease in those who are struggling. So the point is, yes, we are somewhere in very bottom of our current evaluation of our lives, but globally, but still we are getting better. And of course, then we can wonder, you know, what drives this optimism, and what criteria, or where brands and where people can look for more luck or more optimism. So if we take on a leading country, which is Mexico, what drives their happiness? So it's achieving a better standard of living, 41% of respondents. So basically, their optimism or their current life stage evaluation is based on optimism that there will be better times. Something like we had in communist times, that we built bright future year by year. Nothing really was getting better, but still there was a hope that in some 10 and maybe 20 years perspective there will be better. So, and that actually decreased our expectations about current life stage. And that looks like is the case in Mexico. And they are preparing for achieving better living standards because they want to adopt healthy lifestyle also. So if you feel good, then you can enjoy your better living standards. And having people in my life who really care about me. How it's in Baltics? It's a statement having people in my life who really care about me. Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. So this is one of key drivers of their happiness. Or being satisfied at work. 33 in Estonia, 23 in Latvia, and 35 in Lithuania. So these are parameters that actually are similar to all Baltic countries. So these are one of the top statements where there are no big differences in Baltic countries. So if you design a campaign or design a brand who has a promise that it will bring your people who care about you, bring together and enhance somehow those people who can care about you. So this is universal and working promise in all Baltic countries. Being satisfied at work will work slightly less in Latvia. But then differences, which is maybe a bit more interesting. So if you develop a brand, then you can tailor its service or product according to those differences. Let's take Estonia, first one, which is adopt healthy lifestyle. Estonia significantly lead in this parameter. So 26% of Estonians say that they want to adopt a more healthy lifestyle. Latvia 19%, Lithuania 15%. Have a story about this. I went to Estonia a couple of years ago during the Christmas. There is a skiing area, Otepää, and they have skiing tracks next to roads like for 20 kilometers. And Estonians were like, a lot of Estonians were skiing there. So I was going back to Latvia, Estonians were skiing on those skiing tracks. As soon as I entered Latvia, I saw exactly same view with Latvian guy going next to the road, but he was handling two liter bottles of beer, in his hands. He was like crawling there, and like Estonians nicely skiing, Sense of achievement from what I do. Latvia leads significantly. 40% Latvians say that their current satisfaction with their lives or expectations against life, achieving sense from what I do. Versus Estonia 15% and Lithuania only 9%. So more than 3 times or more over Estonia and 4 times over Lithuania. It's also interesting observation, because what I can understand from that Latvians are way more individualistic and oriented, meaning There was another research done by sociologists in Latvia that 75% of Latvians, they are not involved in any social activity. So no church, no choirs, no helping others, and so on, so on. So 75%, which is quite a huge portion. And also one friend of mine, he's like top manager in one huge company. His cooperation partner from abroad, he said, well, Aigars, how would you describe Latvians? And he like took a minute and thought, and his description was that Latvians do not care so much how good or how well they are doing themselves, but they care that neighbor is not doing better, you know. And that's weird, of course. I do not support it at all, you know, but that's, you know, more about like being selfish rather than like being involved in social activities, which is completely different in Lithuania. Lithuanians want to be part of like-minded people. 22% Lithuanians, 8% Latvians, 7% Estonians, 8% Latvians, 7%. So huge difference again, and if you go, for instance, abroad, then Lithuanian diaspora, they are more together, you know, they more support each other and so on. Latvians, time by time, even do not want to know that there is another Latvian living, you know, in some village in UK. So these are major differences being a part of like-minded group. Lithuania, sense of achievement from what I do, Latvia, and adopt healthy lifestyle, Estonia. So if you're tailoring your brand services or some products or promises for each specific country, this can give you good ideas in what direction to look for. And then, of course, the question, what brands has to do with that? Because meaningful brands research, it has kind of three major parts. One is how people feel, you know, general feeling of like people in specific country. Then it's about brand performance, and the third huge part is about communication, or how brands interact with people. So the question is, can brands somehow contribute to the happiness? And the question stands, companies and brands should play a role in improving our quality of life and well-being. So how it looks in Latvia, in all Baltic countries. So in Estonia, 60% people say that companies and brands should be involved in improving our lives. Latvia, 59, Lithuania, 49. There is some differences between last two researches, 2013, 2014. There is slight decrease in expectation that brands should be involved. So 64, 60. 62, 59, 56, and 49. Approximately same decrease in all Baltic countries. So people cut their expectations about brands helping improving their lifestyle, their quality of life. Also, same change we observe globally. It's 71 in 2013 to 69, and even more in Europe, kind of mature markets, 68 to 62. So meaning this is not something specific for Baltic states, that's global trends that people lower their expectations about brands being involved in their lives. And therefore also meaningful brand indexes and brand evaluations globally, actually, they are getting slightly lower than in previous researches. And next statement is that I believe that companies and brands can, they are able to improve lives. So percentage believing that brands are able to improve their lives. So first one was if they should do that. Second one is, are they able to improve our lives? Estonia 29, Latvia 21, Lithuania 31. So as you see, it's almost twice, or not twice, lower belief in this statement rather than they should or they able. Comparing to 2013, again, slight decrease in all criteria. We can say that maybe people are getting more skeptical about brands, and they do not care about brands being in their lives. But same time, we also can take a look on our prosumer segment, which Andrius will talk about prosumers a little bit more. Basically, who are not familiar with that, prosumers are kind of proactive consumers. So they are some marketing experts with, from consumers. Like you want to buy a new phone, you always have a friend whom you can call or ask advice, and he will say, you know, for you, this or that model will be better out of like 20 different phone models available. So see, he's kind of prosumer. He's an opinion leader from public. And observing those prosumers, we have specific filter that can identify who is prosumer, and we can then take how prosumers are different from average public, and then the idea behind that is that prosumers actually show what will happen next. In our case, prosumers are still more positive about brands that can play a significant role in improving my quality of life. So it's 68% prosumers versus 28% of general public. Same in Latvia, 33 versus 20, and 34 versus 31 in Lithuania. So this index actually shows the ratio between those two numbers. So prosumers are more keen that brands can play, but sometimes they are more demanding. Like in American movies, there is this gesture that, well, I'm watching you, so prosumers actually are watching your brands, and they really, if they believe that brands can play a role, they will definitely demand that the brands do it. However, statement, I believe that brands are working hard at improving our quality of life and well-being. That also has decreased, has increased lately over these 1.5 years. So 21% in Estonia in 2013 versus 25 this year. 20 versus 24, and 27 versus 31 in Lithuania. So what actually happens here, that expectation that brands, what brands do, or that brands should play our role, and that I feel that they are playing this important role of improving our quality of life, it actually is getting closer. Which means this can improve, and working hard at improving, it's almost there. And if you take a look on Baltic level, then we can say that actually brands have reached their capabilities of what they can do and what people expect brands to do. And that, if you take from another perspective, you know, lowering these expectations to brands and accepting yes, brands are doing maximum. That's something which has lets brands to reconsider actually their offer. Because when you take a global brand like let's take Nestle, which has mostly global products with slight adjustments country by country. So that's mass production, that's huge brand, top 3 in Meaningful Brands Index globally. But what happens in like mood of consumers? They are actually moving towards much more tailored products and those brands who will be able to create that feeling that a person can tailor his own product out of that brand offer. That brand will be will have kind of competitive advantage. Even McDonald's has launched already in several countries that you can make your own burger from different ingredients, which never has happened before, actually, because they are like famous for very standardized menus and long decision-making processes and so on. So the outcome here is that brands have reached the brand's efforts, what they do, has reached like limits of what people expect from them. So the challenge is actually to overcome this and show some kind of miracle what brand can do else. So to rise actually those expectations. So our hypothesis is actually that we as consumers, we are getting more realistic about brands. So we do not trust anymore kind of promises of kind of better world or something which we can dream of. We actually are getting more pragmatic and accept that brand can deliver very much on product level and little bit on other emotional or on socially responsible level. Therefore, we dig a little bit deeper and we asked, what brands are doing versus what they could do. Meaning, we digged in this in meaningful brands dimensions of our well-being. So how brands perform in marketplace. Maybe Eva already mentioned that. So each of these dimensions have underneath have like tens of different statements that consolidated give how brand performs in marketplace. What's pricing? Is the product innovative enough? Is the labeling clear? And so on and so on. Personal well-being. So how brand interacts with me as a person. So do I feel happier using brand? Do I feel better organized? Does it increase my self-esteem? And so on, so on. Over 20 different statements. And collective well-being, it's about how brand contributes to community. If you look at these dimensions in all 3 countries, then we have pretty same pattern in all 3 countries. So brand performance, so how people evaluate how brand performs in each of those parameters, it's pretty same in all Baltic countries. Marketplace, so brands make pretty good products. That's what people admit, and this is top contributor to brand performance. So products are good, pricing is fair, distribution is okay, products are more or less responsible, and so on. Then it comes economy, so brand promotes economy of country, workplace, it's good place to work, it creates jobs and so on, governance and ethics, so how brand is handled or how company is handled. So is it transparent, is it ethical, how it treats employees and so on. Contribution to community, does it develop local community, does it prefer local suppliers and so on, and contribution to environment, so sustainable sourcing, reducing waste and so on. And organizational aspects is about how brand organizes my life. So does it make my life easier? Does it help me to adopt healthy lifestyle? Does it help to save time and so on? There are like 4 different parameters under this organizational. But the interesting thing is that first one is this marketplace, which consolidates like 10 different aspects about product. And next 5 are collective contribution to collective well-being, meaning brands, people see that brands perform well on product level, on collective well-being level, so it's good that brand is here and it contributes to community. And only one of measures correlates with personal well-being. So that's organizational. So saving time, adopting a healthier lifestyle, helping me to organize my routine. But a question is it really important for people? So brands do well on this, but they go kind of their own path. Other thing is, you know, how it resonates with the consumer. So are these like measures really important when I'm making purchase decision? So when I'm going into shop, so I know that brand is socially responsible, it reduces waste and produces sustainable products, but am I willing to pay more for this brand? And typically, I believe your research always has shown that that people say, yes, it is important, but I am not willing to pay more for that brand. Or actually, I am not willing to pay more, but when it comes to buying brands, I buy with discount, something other. Yeah? So the importance is completely different. If you take a look what is on Baltic level important for people when they are choosing a brand or what promotes brand meaningfulness, it's marketplace again. What's a product? Of course, I want to buy a product which is relevant for me and which solves my problem. And then three personal well-being aspects: organizational, emotional, and social. And only then comes collective well-being measures. So what we can see here that brands too much generalize their proposal and they do not talk enough personal with each of consumers. And this, which is really something opposite to this DIY trend that people want personalized products. They want to, I'm sorry. So when you come to this comparison, performance versus importance, we can find out, look side by side. So this is how they perform, and this is what's important. And that's quite different from like this reality changes instantly. So what we can see that there is a huge mismatch between how people see brands perform and how they want brands to perform. And those few parts which were generalized, this emotional, that also includes makes me happy, helps make other people's happy, promotes my self-esteem and so on and so on. My colleagues in IDEA can, of course, give much more detailed measures on each of those aspects and dig a little really in depth with each brand, which we have measured in this research. But the point is that we see that this personal well-being is much more important, and brands do not still deliver that. And now taking a look on differences between Baltic countries on importance level. So that's on average three most unmet met criteria. On average, it's organizational, so brand helps to organize my daily routine, helps to save time, and so on. Marketplace, so provides good products, fair prices, and emotional well-being, meaning which I mentioned before. I feel happier. It helps others make happier. I like that people see me using the brand, and so on. If you take a look on Estonia, it's pretty same as Baltic's average, so unmet criteria. Latvia, marketplace is the first, so product is the first. Next one is emotional well-being, and last one is organizational, like top three. In Lithuania, it's a little bit different, so it's organizational, helps to organize time, money, and so on. Makes me happy, and it's cheaper. So, and that's the most, probably all marketers have noticed that yes, Lithuania is the most like price-sensitive market. Yeah? And again, we are watching you, prosumer point of view, that you know, if general public, you know, just evaluates brands and they use brands, and prosumers are actively involved in brand kind of promotion from third parties. So they actually are brand ambassadors. And what we see on statement that I regularly seek information about behavior of companies and brands. Prosumers twice as much, at least twice as much, like average consumer seeks this information. So actually all brands are under the magnifying glass of prosumers, and they actively share their experiences, what they found on this in their social networks and internet and among their friends, because each prosumer interacts with 4 times more people around than average consumer. Also, I frequently consider impact of brand on people's well-being and environment when I'm deciding to buy brand or not. Also, almost 1.5 times higher evaluation from prosumer side. So this is where brands are under the magnifying glass of prosumers, and therefore, if we do not meet those criteria which are important for people, then you know, we fail in being like promoted in social networks and developing brand more rapidly, because prosumers help basically to develop your brand. So to sum it up, few areas of improvement. Organizational dimension that works in all Baltics makes my life easier. So if brand can deliver this message that it makes my life easier, and people really get it, and they have some emotional and rational tools how brand can make their lives easier, then brand has a chance to be more successful. Other organizational dimension: save time, better organize my daily tasks. Again, if brand can manage to deliver this, then it has a good chance to be more meaningful. We had a discussion with Swedbank marketing, and had one presentation like 5 years ago, and there was a case when they wanted to increase commissions. And what I proposed them, that, you know, see that idea that internet bank saves so much your time, and if you actually transfer it into real money, which is your time, You know, you earn like your hour costs at least 10 euros, for instance. When you go to bank branch and stand in a queue and try to pay your bills in bank branch, then that's a hell expensive. And so bank basically can ask money for using internet bank, but it does not, but therefore it saves time and it contributes to person's organizational dimension. Other emotional dimension, which is like top 2 on Baltic level on average, helps me feel more satisfied with my life. Again, if you can tailor this message somehow according to your brand product or service, so how people can be more satisfied with life, then you have chance that your brand will be much stronger. It simply helps me to feel happy. So, what we see, how the brands are moving through our kind of for 20 years emerging market is like paths from deficit, which we had in 80s, then we had products available, and then we had products which are more or less meaningful and have or already do perform well. Nowadays, the question is how brand can connect to consumer on personal level, because that's what people expect, but that's what brands still do not deliver. That was my message here.